All right, so here we go. We are starting with team number 28. And by the way, the criteria I use for the power rankings has not changed. I'm not going to tell you how I did it, but it is based on a lot on OV rankings and basically how I feel the team will do, but you'll never find out. Only a few people know. We would like to welcome Sam Myers to the league as GM of the Denver Rapids, and what better place to start than at the bottom? Sam, you can't get any lower. You don't have to worry about going down. You're at the bottom, which is a good place to start. What do we think of Denver's lineup, guys?
What lineup?
That's so sorry.
I'm a bit of a...
I told these guys before we start. Let's be really. No, that's funny. That's funny.
I mean, Sam, I am intimidated by your lineup.
Sam, you got. I mean, we're the three nicest GMs in the league too. I mean, you really have been thrown into a lion's den. Just be thankful that you're in the World Conference instead of the Canadian one. Denver, Matt pointed out, may not have a good lineup. Well, Eric pointed that out, but Matt pointed out earlier. How many draft picks do they have?
So clearly, Sam has put together a long-term strategy for his team, and it looks really, really solid on paper. Mm-hmm. Over the next 3 years, as of right now, and we're filming this in the preseason of 3 months after he joined the league, he has 12 first-round draft picks over the next 3 SICHL entry drafts.
Enviable.
And based on the current look and composition of his team, I think it's safe to assume that his own pick will be at minimum a top 3 pick in at least this year and probably next year, and most likely the third one. So I mean, he's got a lot of building blocks to start with, and who knows where some of those other first-round picks will be. I see a couple of them are the Fredericton Expresses, so they're probably going to be a little bit lower down, but who knows what happens in 2 seasons.
So he's got a shot at, does he have a shot at Connor McDavid then?
I would say he probably has a shot at every phenom over the next 5 seasons.
Yep, good shot at the Reinhardt this year, and
good start.
Moving along.
I foolishly thought I could be really clever and try and buy people's first round picks in 2015, which I think is when McDavid's going to get drafted. Mm-hmm. Turns out a lot of people in this league know what they're doing, and they wouldn't sell me their first round draft picks.
Interesting.
Should have talked to Derek. But his draft picks are already gone. I'm pretty sure, Norman.
I do want to ask one question though.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Sam's roster, and I have no idea who David Leggio is. Leggio? He sounds Swiss, but I might be making that up.
I think both the starting goalies are 40. What are they ranked?
Leggio is a 63 overall.
Oh, that's not bad.
It's not as terrible as it probably should be.
Actually, his starting goaltenders are 63 and 58, which sounds horrendous. But last year, I'm pretty sure they were both in the 40s. Mm-hmm. And the worst part is, since they were both. That's the rub with goalies that are low ranked. It's usually because they only played a few games, so their durability rating is really low. So not only are they bad, they get injured all the time. I'm just oh no! I remember one game Miami lost. I think by 14 goals or something like that, and both their starting goalies got injured, or their starter and their backup got injured in one game. It's not fair.
And before we move on, I just want to apologize to Mr. Leggio's family as I grossly. Made him substantially more exotic in his background. He's actually from Williamsville, New York.
Williamsville, New York?
Not Swiss.
He's not Swiss.
No. He's also 28 years old.
And I would like to throw in one positive note for Sam.
Do it.
I applaud you, sir. It takes some bravery to tank the way that you are tanking. And that's speaking as somebody who tanked harder than anyone has ever seen in the SACHL. I believe I had a 13-win season going back to...
That's pretty bad.
What was that, 2010?
How many wins did Miami have last year?
Actually, they were probably worse than me.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that was rough.
You think?
But take note of the NHL. All 5 previous Cup winners, the most 5 recent, they have all had top 5 picks in the last 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's no question the building blocks are here for
That's the way to go for it.
None of us are going to be happy to be playing in 5 or 6 seasons.
Yep. Let's hope they have rapid success.
Ooh.
This is why I write the power rankings, just clever puns like that.
Not good.
All right, so again, Sam, welcome to the league. We're happy to have you, and hope you have a good time. Let's move on to number 27. How the mighty have fallen. Havana Revolution comes in at number 27. Havana, what happened to you, man? You used to be cool.
Jeff
Jeff started out last year, I think, 11-0. And then he lost a couple games, and then he went crazy and just started building for the future. He decided, I'm not going to win this year, And that's an example of tanking well, because he did it quickly.
Deliberate and
Yes.
very dangerous.
Explain.
Well, Mr. Jeff over there, I'm going to butcher your last name, so I'm just going to avoid it. Prozeller? Prozeller?
It's got to be Prozeller.
Prozeller?
Prozeller?
Proselytize?
We haven't met a lot of each other, so we're going to butcher
It's kind
something.
of sad.
I'm actually met Jeff, but I'm not gonna.
Correct me on that?
I'm not gonna wade into this conversation.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Let's call him Pro Z.
Yeah, exactly.
Pros.
Well, Havana, they've got some really solid building blocks there with Tyler Sagan.
Sagan's going to get a monster re-rate this year.
Yes, indeed they will. They've got Zuccarello's having a good season this year.
Yes,
due
he
for
is.
a good re-rate. At the
Wingles.
same time, yep, Wingles. Yes, he's a dangerous
Scrivens,
one.
isn't Scrivens doing well this year?
Ben
Yeah.
Scrivens.
Or am I thinking of Ben
Yeah.
Bishop?
You're thinking of Bishop in.
Yeah.
Scrivens is also playing.
Scrivens
well.
is doing okay, yeah.
And he's managed to hold on to all of his draft picks too.
He's got a couple extras in there, yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's good. That's
So,
good.
Yeah.
But how so risky?
You know what? Let me rescind that comment.
Yeah.
I think he's on a good building block.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Explain why.
Half. Well, he's clearly got all the right pieces in place, especially up front.
He's in the World Conference, that helps.
Indeed. I like his aggressive bidding on Michael Scarbosa. He beat me out for that with a $2 million bid and one-way contract.
Big money. Big money.
Very nicely done for a guy who won't play in his lineup this season.
Right.
So something to look forward to in the future for sure.
Cool.
Probably needs a little goaltending.
Says everybody. He may be able to pick one up when the waiver draft's coming up.
Yeah, you can find goaltending when you need it down the road, or
Season by season.
It looks like Jeff's going to have a couple of seasons to find somebody late in a draft or midway through a draft.
Yeah.
I think that the key thing here is he has two guys in Sagan and Huberdeau who are going to be first-line NHLers, and in Sagan's case, it looks like a pretty big superstar
monster re-rate.
He might make Team Canada this year.
for the next 10 plus. I mean, he holds the rights of these guys. They're both early in their contracts. They're going to be useful. It's a little bit bad luck for him that Sagan's going to be an RFA this year, so he's going to get one of those monster new re-rates under the new system.
My deepest sympathies.
But I mean, the reality of the matter is Sagan's going to be worth every penny from now and through the duration of that contract. So that's the star piece of this puzzle.
Did Havana
As long as you
draft?
can keep him out of the strip clubs or whatever was going on.
Did he draft Sagan, or was that acquired in a trade? I don't remember.
I believe he
That's
drafted him
fine.
during his expansion year.
Let's see.
Yeah, second overall in the
That's right.
2010 draft.
Nice.
By Havana.
By Havana, good stuff. I do like their uniforms.
Yes, the old Taylor.
That was the year
the Taylor Tyler
Vipers
draft.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the Vipers took Hall, which was the right choice at the time.
At the time, yeah.
Um,
Still made.
and still very well might
Hall's
be.
pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting draft with Fowler and Goodbrinson going. Well done on all.
Don't tell me what I drafted. I am so bad. I think it was like a board post or something where it's like good teams build through the draft, and I'm like, oh no, I'm doomed.
I've made a huge mistake.
Oh man, bad GMs overpay on free agency, and good GMs draft well, and I think we know where I stand. I would like to say that I aggressively bid on free agents, but you could say overpay, and that would be just as accurate. So
You took Brandon Gormley that year, who I think is still probably going to work out for you.
I think you forced me to draft him.
I think that might be true.
Yeah. I should get my drafting. I get a lot of trade and drafting advice from like Erica, Matt, or Chasm, or Pat. But like I think I can trust them. But I know with SICHL, there's always there's always got their own little vested interest. I certainly won't trade with some members because I know they work for prospect radio shows.
Not mentioning any movies.
You're just too smart. You're too good. I know when you want to trade with me, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. I don't want to.
I think it's a wolf in wolf's clothing.
How did I describe him at the Canucks game the other night? As a scary cross between some back alley swindler and a greedy dragon on a pile of gold. He's just impossible.
He is now smog.
That's right.
Okay,
I think that in the best way, Guy. Honestly.
So we're looking ahead at Jeff's outlook for this season. Team is going to struggle. I mean, I think that's clearly part of their plan. They're using the big T word, but I think that the power rankings, to start with, have them in the right spot. I mean, there's no way this team is going to finish 28th in the league. They're not going to outsuck the Rapids.
No.
It's not going to be close. But I think they have the nice benefit of they do have a couple core pieces in place. and they're going to have the added benefit of getting a high pick this year to add to the complement. So I think they're probably a little bit further ahead of the Rapids in terms of getting back to competitiveness, but they don't have the same depth with those insane 12 picks over the next 3 drafts.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. Are there? I'm looking at we're all technologied up here. Are people injured already? We've only had 1 preseason game, haven't we? Or maybe 2.
There's some people a little banged up. So I keep looking over to my right as I have my tablet here. Opened up with a bunch of everybody's rosters and whatnot.
We're connected. We got all the info we need because we want to know what we're talking about.
Stat up here.
Yeah.
I should probably put it on my TV over there. That'd make more sense.
Wait a minute. Chasm is in 28th or 27th? Chasm, you're going up in the world, buddy. Actually, I think, and there he is. Good segue. Good segue.
That's beautiful.
Chasm Hussein, who recently published. Did you see his email there?
Indeed, I did.
Congrats, pal. I'm looking forward to that
article.
Yeah.
Can't wait to read it and not understand a word of it.
I read the first paragraph, and there were a few words in there I did understand.
Cool.
Yeah, I had seen them before.
Good for you.
One of them was consider. I'm like, I know that word.
That's a big word.
And then the next few were a little
That has
confusing.
3 syllables.
Hang on, let me get my calculator.
Well, I think let me be the first to say that if Chasm were here, he would absolutely be with us doing the show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I believe he's off currently running Rob Ford's re-election campaign. So he should be available pretty soon.
So just to fill in the SOCHL crowd that doesn't know Chasm, he's the friendliest socialist you will ever meet.
It's true.
So Chasm's team rolls in number 26 with the Montreal Millionaires.
And Chasm be 2-0 in the preseason.
Get out of here.
Knocked off Fredericton and Quebec.
They beat the Express. Chasm has had an interesting SICHL history because he came into the league originally as GM of the Oslo Vikings. Suspiciously close to the Norseman in name.
There's still a bit of a legal dispute around patent infringement, logo infringement, trademark.
It's not as bad as the Rough Riders and the Rough Riders, though.
It's pretty bad, though.
It's not good. But now, so he's gone from inheriting a team that was absolutely stacked. It was one of the mini dragons. Mm-hmm. And now he's inheriting a team from the absolute bottom. And it'll be interesting to hear from him. He's coming to Victoria on the 16th. It'll be interesting to hear from him which one he sort of, I guess, prefers, or if he's having less fun or more fun now. But this team has all Chasm stamped all over it. So, yeah, I'm assuming still building for the future. But what do we think of his roster now?
I apologize. He beat Acadia, which is even funnier.
Acadia?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Acadia Betters
Not Fredericton. Sorry, Mark.
No, the goal.
So Eric and I went to a hockey game together a couple nights ago. We saw my Canucks vanquish the Avs, which was nice.
Disappointed.
Patrick Roy did nothing insane though, so nobody really enjoyed the game.
Aside from pulling the goalie with 5 minutes left in the third, while down 3-0, I applaud it.
Yeah.
But that's not insane in Patrick Roy standards.
It's just awesome.
The sticks and bench all stayed where they belong. He didn't threaten any coach.
There was no domestic violence.
Yeah, exactly.
Throw it at his wife.
So I mean,
I cried like a little girl when I saw that when I was like 11 years old. I'll never forget.
Actually, that's not as bad as when you went to an Avs game and he got injured in the pregame skate. Someone skated over his
UA Krupp, 230-pound German skates over
Stanley Cup winning goal, UA Krupp.
Beautiful.
So while we were at the game, Eric had mentioned to me that Chasm had went sort of crazy during free agency, and he had opened up the pocketbook.
Oh,
interesting.
Well, his name is the Millionaire. So
How was it?
Gotta go for it.
I've just been now sort of looking up and down Chasm's roster, which is very much positioned for long-term success. Mm-hmm. But I'm very confused where he spent all of his money.
Maybe he just donated it. Is there an SICHL Veterans Fund or something?
That would be very Chasm.
Who did he spend money on?
For a bunch of ex-Schooners goalies.
Oh, this is Victor
the biggest one by far was 30-year-old Victor Fast. And that's really the main thing that confused me. I'll be honest.
Is that going to be his franchise player?
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But no, Chasm's trading him. Based on the way the team looks.
What value now?
It's 73.
He's not going to re-rate well because he's blowing up in Anaheim injured all year.
But it's only a 1-year contract.
30 years old, so he's going to be a UFA.
Yeah, but somebody will need a backup. 73 is a good
There's some playoff team or playoff-bound team midway through the season who's going to have somebody go down with an injury. They're looking for somebody. They're going to be a little bit desperate. Might be somebody looking to salvage their season. I see him as moving him. It's possible that Chasm sees long-term glory in Victor Fast's future.
Say it with a lisp.
And I mean, That could be true. I mean, it's either that or Jonas Gustafsson's going to come back. But yeah, I think we'll see a trade there before the end of the season.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, that would make sense. I mean, it doesn't really do Chasm any good to be good now, and the fact that he's in a conference that is like borderline illegally competitive, he's not going to. He's not. Thank you, world. Woo! Yeah, it doesn't really do him any good to be competitive now. So I think he's in the right spot.
Going in the right direction.
Man, look at his forwards. His highest paid forward is $1.5 million, and that's all for Steve Bernier.
Steve Bernier. Matt is your top paid forward right there.
That's a trim payroll. I like that. Matt and Pat Booth, GM of the Slammers, and I used to go see Steve Bernier. He was the man in Moncton. In 2003,
Mayor of Moncton.
He was the mayor. He was like one of the first stars. Like every game, he was the shiz knit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moncton's Gilbert Brulé.
Yes.
Is that what Gilbert Brulé?
No. Brulé was the mayor of Vancouver.
And Corey Crawford was the goalie, wasn't he?
Yes.
Really?
Awesome. Yeah, we saw a bunch of good players.
For 3 weeks right now. That's upsetting.
I know. But anyway, so that's Kazman's team. Any more thoughts about Kazman?
I worry for the fellow with Nail Yakupov as the face of the franchise right now. I'm hoping he lands himself a top guy this year.
His ratings this year are okay, but he's not having a good year in Edmonton, is he?
I was concerned when he made the pick.
Yes?
I remain concerned.
Who could he have taken instead of Yakupov? Did he pick second?
On the plus side,
he does have
Yakupov.
Did he go with Barkov this year?
I think he did.
I think that was his.
Even with Yakupov, Chasm has a team that's going to have a top pick in the coming years, and has $24 million in the bank.
Yeah,
he took Drouin in the draft this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so that one I like.
In 2012, Chasm did have the first overall pick, but I don't think there's many people around who wouldn't have taken Yakupov with that pick.
His career's not over. I mean, it's only.
It's a sophomore slump.
Yeah, how many players have a sophomore slump and then go on to successful careers? Quite a few.
All the time.
Yeah.
So much so that it's a noted trend.
Yeah, that's the term. So, very cool. Okay.
Yeah. I love where he's going.
Me too.
Thumbs up.
Me too.
Good job there,
Good job, guys. Keep it going. Keep it going.
Dan DeKaiser, nice pick.
We need teams to be bad, so I have interesting stuff to say. I can't do the power rankings if everybody's good. So some teams need to be at the bottom, and we appreciate it very much.
And my prediction is Chasm finishes second last in the league. I think the combination of the current makeup of his team and being in the Canadian Conference is going to hurt him quite a bit.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
And
before.
Although he does have a 75 overall goalie, which might win him a couple games, that some of the teams that are fielding goalies in the 50s and 60s, 73,
yeah. Unless he trades him.
He may gain a few games there, but
he
has no easy games in the conference.
No. I mean, even after the waiver draft, a 73 goalie is viable, especially considering like if you look at some of one of the variables I looked at was like goaltender depth. So I think the previous year I just looked at the starting goalie, but if the trend continues, is that we saw how important goalie depth was with Mark. So your goalie is going to get tired after one playoff game. So if you have a crappy backup in the 60s, you're probably not going to win. So a team with 2 80s, I would take over a team with like a mid 80s goalie and then a 60 backup. Because you're giving yourself no chance to win.
Platoons are the way to go.
So 73. So GMs, look for that after the waiver draft. 73 goalie Victor Fast may be available. I hope Victor Fast doesn't watch.
Looking forward to it.
That'd be embarrassing.
He's gonna raise like $7.5 million. So you think my name's funny, dude? Think fast.
Isn't he Swedish?
I don't know. He probably is. I'm being horrifically offensive. Let's move on. Yep. So after Montreal, who do we have, boys?
We have the Kansas City Crunch.
It's weird to see the Crunch this low.
Oh, Kirk,
what are you doing? What are you doing? You just making the other team feel better about themselves?
It's generous. He's a nice guy.
Yeah. No, he is. I do like Kirk. Surprising actually to see the Crunch this low. He has some very serviceable forwards.
Serious talent there.
Man, Spets has got a 98 face-off rating.
Yeah,
he's got He's got some face-off studs.
If it weren't for that durability, Spets, it would be pretty easily like a 73 kind of.
There is though a very good reason why the Crunch are rated so low,
and I know what it is.
Mike Weaver.
Mike
Weaver has, let me get this right, an 84 defense. if you need to fathom why this league doesn't make any sense sometimes and the ratings make no sense, look no further than Mike Weaver being rated an 84 defense. And what is he overall? Whatever it is way too high.
68.
Wow, that's, I guess that's still pretty good. But an 84 defense for Mike Weaver? We've seen Mike Weaver play defense.
I've seen Mike Weaver play hockey.
Mike Weaver has 9 defensive points better than Shea Weber and Ryan Suter.
Okay, that's kind of painful.
So, Kirk, I hate to say it, but a large part of why your team is ranked so low is because you employ Mike Weaver. And for some reason, we hate him.
It's terrible. That said, I mean, this is an actual wolf in sheep's clothing. Like,
this is a hockey team.
The Crunch's team is not bad by any means. They're absolutely going to finish, in my opinion, a lot higher ahead than this. And furthermore, they have the building blocks to be an immediate, legit contender as soon as next year.
Exactly.
They have great forwards.
And they've got some structure to them. They have some very, very strong centers as well. I think we've seen recently how important that face-off rating can be.
Yeah.
In terms of
Spets has got a 98.
Yeah, and they've got it right down the lineup.
And they got Steve Sullivan. You would have thought my love for Steve Sullivan would have offset my hatred for Mike Weaver. Mm-hmm. I bet Curtis is probably going to look at this and be like, it's going to light a fire under his ass. I bet he's going to do better than that.
Yeah,
they have McBain.
Bane.
And furthermore, in addition to the fact that Kirk has a lot of talent on his team, in spite of the fact that some of them don't have great ratings this season, they also are sitting on almost $68 million of cash.
What?
Now that's smog right there.
That's a lot of money. 68 million?
Money bags.
Holy cow.
$68 million.
So they're not in a financial crunch.
Oh, I like what you did with that.
That was better than last one.
Woo! All right.
Was that just off the top of your head? That's amazing.
I'm a genius.
This is why you know these things.
On top of that, I'm a big fan of any team that employs Jean-Sébastien Giguère, because you can say jiggy jiggy all the time.
Jiggy and Iggy should be on the same team. Giguère's going to get a monster re-rate this year.
Love it.
And he's gone for one more year after that. So next year, you never know, might be his year.
That Canucks game we were at the other night would have been like 6-0 with a regular goal.
Really?
Yeah.
Giguère was
close,
outstanding.
I think that one of the better things that can possibly happen to Colorado is actually that maybe some of the legal issues that some of their players are facing come to fruition and Giguère gets more starts. Because I don't
that really did that. Everything was going so well, and then it's like, well, what could possibly go wrong? Fire them off. I shouldn't have done that. Actually, I didn't mean it like that. I meant sort of like
he is.
I meant like, and there you go. Big problem.
We could discuss not going down this Patrick Waugh domestic violence road before the podcast here webcast.
That's two domestic violence jokes we've made on one team in like 5 minutes, but we don't mean to do it. It just
my wife's a social worker. How can I watch this team?
She's gonna watch this, and I'm staying over at your place. Kathleen, I didn't mean it.
Who's next?
Quick. Okay, so Crunch probably going to end up better than that. So we're seeing a trend here. A lot of world teams near the bottom. But now, who do we have next?
That would be the Chicago Tigers.
Shito. God, I hope that's pronounced his name. Shito, I'm sorry, we've never met. I hope that's how we pronounce your name. Let us know.
Shito, that's how we pronounce it.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So the Tigers, are they going to snag another amazing goalie in the waiver draft like they did last year?
Oh, good old Chicago. That's a good question.
Let's find out.
So this is a bad team.
Today,
this is a bad team.
Yeah.
So Peter Budaj, not what I would consider to be a.
Wait a minute. Where's DiPietro's DU is 50?
That's record.
That's way.
That's a typo. It should be 0. There should be no 5 there.
Has he actually officially retired yet, or is he still?
No, he's with some affiliate in
or the ECHL now.
No, he's with wasn't he with Carolina's affiliate or something, or the Islands?
He signed
not the Islanders
somewhere.
Yeah, poor guy. Yeah,
rough run.
So right now you're saying not so good.
I think there's going to be some lean years in Chicago. Richards is making a lot of money, and I mean he's got a really good rating right now.
Yeah.
I'm not certain how long that's going to continue for.
But there's some finance issues there.
And then you're sitting with Erad making almost $4 million.
Erad is having a horrible year now. It doesn't make any sense. They had
You've got
a horrible year.
Gomez at 2.7, Torres at 2.5, Booth 2.7 again, Lubo at $5 million. That's
but he is an expiring free agent.
Yep, he's off the books soon at least, which is nice.
That's true.
Yeah,
Niskanen's actually going to get a good reward next year.
Now that was an interesting little pickup. If I remember right, Matt Irwin was acquired at the cost of a first rounder through a RFA contract offer.
Was it really?
That was an interesting choice.
But I mean, that said,
Ballsy.
you do have an NHL player right now, a guy who's gonna play for you for a long time. I don't know. So I mean, you've taken the risk out of it, which is good.
Sort of depends on what first round pick it is, right? Like I have first round picks, and I might as well have picked a bucket of pucks. Like they're never going to play for me. So I mean, it really does depend.
It might just be a second. I'm not quite 100% on my RFA tables yet, but I remember it was pretty good.
There are some younger D-men here, or guys who are sort of nearing the peak of their career, who really could turn things around. You got guys like Niskanen, Diaz, and Mazzaros, who all have shown really good signs and flashes at various points in their career. So
top four solid kind of defenseman.
And I mean, maybe Anton Babchuk will one day be, a serviceable NHL
supposed
player.
to be.
Yeah.
I know I held on to him for a long time in desperate hopes that it was going to pan out.
He's also got a lot of high round prospects.
Let's talk about
Justin
talk about the
Bailey.
future there. Yeah. Alex Wenberg, solid pick.
Yeah.
Big fan.
That's not the Erik Karlsson, is it?
It is not.
No, Pat has Erik Karlsson. There's another guy with the exact same name.
And Pat would never
Significantly younger.
No, he won't. Well, I thought Pat would never go Chara, and he traded Chara. That was a good move.
Chris Bigras, really smart pick there. I kind of hate you for that one, Sheet, though. I had my eye on him in the 40s. Going to likely play for Team Canada at the World Juniors this year.
Oh, cool.
Avalanche pickup. Probably should have gone in the first round, and you got it in 38th overall. So, nice snag there.
Yeah. He's got Alexander Picard. Why are there two Alexander Picards? That's
well, both of them were really bad.
So I drafted one of them very high.
You don't actually have to remember either of their names because they'll never play in the NHL.
Yeah, you wasted a top 10 pick on it. The Coca-Cola Blizzard only used the fourth rounder. Yeah.
It's never good when you look at a player and he's not ranked. Yeah. He was drafted by a team that's no longer in the league from like 8 years ago.
That hurts.
Probably not going to work out for him. Okay, well let's keep moving on. So Sheetal, good luck this year, bud. And the next ranked team, Dublin Shamrocks at number 20. What?
All right.
What are we at? 23.
We're at 23 now. Yes.
Ryan, what are you doing all the way down there? The Dublin Shamrocks surprised a lot of people. I remember last year they were on the cusp, and then they made some very aggressive trades to make it into the playoffs. And I think I beat them in the second round of the playoffs, first or second round. So they made the playoffs. It's not, to be fair, it's not that hard to get into the playoffs in the World Conference. But what do we think about Dublin's lineup this year?
I do love Thomas Vanek. That is one heck of a re-rate that he got this year.
Favorable. 87 scoring.
87 scoring.
That's favorable.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
And 85 passing, solid puck handling, 87 skating. Like
he's got some pretty good forwards, actually.
He's wicked.
To go off topic quickly.
Fire.
Do it on related but off topic. What did we think of the Vanek trade in the NHL?
Because
Matt Molson is playing very well in Buffalo.
It didn't make any sense to me. It wasn't like it's not like when the Penguins traded Armstrong, who was like Crosby's best friend. They traded Molson, who played on Tavares' line, and they thought this was the trade that was gonna. It was really confusing to me. Yeah. Plus, don't they forfeit some kind of pick or something? And Vanek's a free agent at the end of the year.
So they're both free agents, but it cost them a little first rounder to make the upgrade. Now, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't think the difference between Matt Molson and Thomas Vanek is the first round. I think Vanek's the better player.
He is, but I think it's more change in style of play than anything else. You're going to put up similar numbers, but they do it very differently. I think Vanek is more of a peripheral player than Molson was.
The Islanders are doing so badly this year.
That first thought they needed to go that route.
That first round pick is going to be pretty valuable to Buffalo. They may get the 1-2 pick.
Yeah.
I don't think. No, I mean, I really should not be the person to criticize trades. Because I've made two good ones in my 10 or 11 years in SSCHL. But that one doesn't really make it. I know at the time the Islanders were relatively competitive, but since the Vanek trade, they've been sinking lower and lower.
Yeah. So for my boy Johnny T, he misses his wingman there.
Well, he'll be on a good team when he's on Team Canada.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, back to Dublin. I really like Patrick Berglund.
Yes.
Who I think he's going to be a fortress in the middle for them.
Definitely tried to pry him away from Ryan. I think it was last year.
He still might.
For a long time.
I don't think so.
Ryan, you should trade him to Eric.
Hey, buddy.
You know how to get hold of them.
That's right. We're actually, insider line here, we're in negotiations for a couple interesting pieces here.
Do you want to break your trade?
Oh, I can't break any. Well, maybe I should check my phone.
This is going to get posted for a while. So.
Yeah, it'll be old news by that time. All right. We'll see what happens.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's some older pieces here, but guys who can contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think one of the tricky things that the franchise is facing is the 4-year contract, $5 million for Damian Brunner. That contract was amazing 2 weeks into the season.
It did. Yeah.
And subsequently, I dropped Brunner in one of my fantasy leagues because I think he went something like 14 games without a point.
Yeah.
Who was the guy? Brunner reminds me of sort of a similar situation. Who was the guy that was like, every time you hear about the best player not in the NHL,
Fabian Brunstrom.
Brunstrom, and he had a heart, and he had not a heart trick. He had a hat trick. No, he had a hat trick in his first game, and then fizzled out. And then Brunner also had the benefit last year of playing with Datsuk and Zetterberg.
Yeah.
So anytime you hear about best player not in the NHL, maybe there's a reason they're not in the NHL.
Maybe.
Yes.
If they're over the age of 20, I think you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, Franzen paid off a little bit.
That worked out.
I will say I'm a big fan of the fact that they employed Jay Pandolfo, a former Norseman, and in some of our leaner years, he played a significant role on a scoring line for my team. So I hope he's doing the same for your farm team.
Sincere soft spot for us.
That was
Jay Pandolfo. It was really nice.
He plays.
We gotta remember, these aren't just lines in an Excel spreadsheet. These are real people.
We care.
Kind of. Yeah.
Kelsey Tessier. Turn your team around, Ryan.
I'm looking forward to hopefully beating Dublin many, many, many times this year, because I'm not going to be able to do what I did last year, which was lose very few games. So yeah, good luck to you, Dublin. I like the fight you showed last year when you there was like
he went for it.
4 or 5 teams. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't know how. Yeah, it was. I like that. I sort of make the mistake sometimes of like middling, sort of not making one decision or another, and sometimes a bad move done with conviction or done with the right timing is better than the right move done late or by accident. Mm-hmm. So I think Ryan will probably end up a little higher again. These don't really take into effect which conference they play in. Otherwise, Dublin might be a little bit higher. Mm-hmm. The comparative conference rankings are
fair enough. So I think this rounds out the first quarter of our.
It does. So the bottom feeders, if you want to be mean, we're all done. So good luck to all the bottom feeders, and congratulations to Quebec. You are not in the bottom 7.
Congratulations.
Very exciting for you. Guess which team we're going to be talking about next?
It's not the Schooners, is it?
It's not.
No. Although I do want to point out that we've actually only covered 6. So
we've only covered 6.
What time is it?
Yeah, I was getting a little.
I'm not my sleeping bag. It's okay.
Good. Oh, good. All right, wife is going to be ecstatic. So maybe I believe we actually have one more team to cover before we switch out.
It's Quebec.
That was
Quebec. You're the best of the worst. If you want to look at it that way. Let's talk about the Cannons. My 3 favorite teams.
This is my dark horse team.
My 3 favorite teams to do power rankings last year. No question. Quebec, Toronto, and Calgary.
Yeah.
They had this wonderful 3-way dance. It was like the good, the bad, and the ugly. That shootout at the end of the graveyard. Oh man! Every week I'm like, God, I can't wait to see what these guys do, because you never knew what was going to happen. Calgary went on that insane run where they beat all these good teams and then lost 10 in a row. Toronto, they would just jockey for position all the time. So I was a big fan of these teams, mainly because I had no idea what the hell they were going to do. So this is your dark horse team.
This is totally my dark horse team.
Yeah.
Well, Corey really knows what he's doing. I think that's pretty obvious.
I hate hearing that because I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you should care less than the 2 of us because he's in our conference again.
Good.
As always.
So tell me about the Cannons.
Well, he's got a guy named Anze Kopitar.
Really?
I hear he's a pretty good hockey player.
Okay, you're right, except the more important player, other than his durability, is former Hamburg Gladiator. Joffrey Lupul has a... Sorry, I can't even pronounce this without wanting to throw up.
No.
His scoring rating is what?
94.
Oh my God!
94.
I traded him away for fucking. Sorry. Sorry. That's the first one. Censor that. Sorry, I didn't swear.
A little trumpet in the background.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Michael, have some work to do on that.
I'm going to use the amazing scouting service that we have on our SICHL to see how many players have a 94 rating or higher. The answer is 2. There's one guy. Yeah, you can go away right now. There's one guy, ladies and gentlemen, who is ranked ahead of Joffrey Lupul for scoring. His name is Alex Ovechkin.
You think maybe Stamkos or Crosby? I know maybe not Crosby, but he has a 94 scoring rating.
Can I just ask
nobody ahead?
Ask.
How did that happen?
It's a legitimate question.
You're asking me to make sense of a simulator that makes no sense. But besides that,
He's a former Medicine Hat Tiger. He's a good hockey player.
he was a good hockey player. I'm pretty sure I traded away Joffrey Lupul for a second-round pick a long time ago, and then the next game in the NHL, he got 6 points, and Matt kept updating me every time he would get a point. Just sums up my SICHL career in a nutshell right there. Don't trade away young players for nothing.
I'm noticing a trend here. We've
What's
got
that?
Clark MacArthur
Yeah.
and Darren Helm. 2 other former Medicine Hat Tigers. Now, Corey, I know you got your
Right?
here,
How suspicious.
but this is getting a little odd.
yeah. Anyway, what do we think overall of the Cannons team?
Potential. Lots of potential.
Lots of potential?
Solid defense.
Yeah.
Look at all the guys they've got with high 70s, even low 80s ratings on DF.
Yeah.
Jan Heda.
Is DF the most
Solid.
important rating for defensemen?
I think Guy proved that pretty conclusively.
That's pretty much the rating I look at when I look at defensemen. I mean, that's
he did that
again
with a bunch of guys who were like all top 4 ranked. I don't think
Yeah.
he had a single guy who you would consider to be a top pairing defenseman.
Yeah.
And he just crushed everybody.
that was the thing about the rankings, guys, is the majority of it I did on OV rankings, which it sort of gives you an indication of how good the teams are, but positionally it doesn't actually make a ton of sense, right? If you have players that are good at specific things, but low OV ratings, I think those are better than a player who's sort of average at everything
Yeah.
and may have a better OV rating. So having a player with a 94 scoring rating is maybe a game breaker.
Yeah. And I think that OV rating also gives a big bias towards veteran players.
Sure, because
The
the
experience and
leadership, which have
Yeah.
no bearing in the regular season.
So it would seem. Yep. A lot of young teams that do fairly well.
Yeah.
So look
Yeah.
forward to that in the
Okay.
rankings.
What do you think, Obo?
Solid building block. I mean, I'm not certain that they're going to be a big contender right now, but there's no question this is a team and a franchise that we're going to see in the top 10 of the league for a long time in the future.
Right.
Ooh, and Curtis Lazar. I know Guy was probably saying some not so nice things when Corey skunked him in the draft there.
Oh, is that right?
We took him 7th overall. I know for a fact Guy was looking forward to drafting him somewhere in the team.
If you can do anything that Guy is not happy about,
Brilliant. Good move. Do it.
good move. Yeah.
That should be
And
your
if Guy
number
wants
goal
one of
in
your
life,
players,
upset Guy at the draft.
hang on to him with an iron vice grip.
Because he'll come back to you every year. And even if you never trade him, you'll feel good about yourself.
And on that note,
Pro tip.
now we're wrapping up.
Now we're done. Okay, so this is the end of part 1 or part 2. Our first group of teams, we're going to be looking at teams ranked 21 to 15 next. So stick around.